ज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापतिकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजना सहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचना गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामी निति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणी। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna, we are continuing our discussion from Srī Caitanya Caritāmrta. We are on Madhya lila, chapter 15. Chapter 15 is entitled Lord's Pastimes. Lord accepts prasad at the house of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. In this chapter, Kaviraj Goswami has described the various wonderful festivals which the devotees perform in Jagannath Puri. Festival of Janmashtami, then Rasa Yatra, Dol Purnima, Utthan, and Deepavali, everything. And then ultimately, the time came for the devotees to depart for Navadvip back. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he gave instructions to all the devotees individually. He called all of them and praised them. He praised Raghav Pandit for his wonderful devotion, and then he described how Raghav Pandit is so very careful in offering very pure of bhoga to the Lord. And then he gives instructions to Shivananda Sena that please take care of the finances of Vasudev Datta. He doesn't know how to save money. And if one doesn't save money, then how will he survive? How will he take care of the family? Then Lord talks to all the Kulinagram devotees, headed by Satyaraj Khan and Ramananda Vasu. He tells them to bring silken ropes for Jagannath. And he says, in the village of Gunaraj Khan, even a dog is dear to me. And then Satyaraj Khan and Ramananda Vasu, they came and they asked various questions. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he gave three instructions to all the Pulinagram Vasis. Prabhu kahena Krishna seva Vaishnava sevan nirantar karatumi nama sankirtan. Serve Krishna, serve devotees and chant the names. So Satyaraj Khan, he asks a very obvious question. How will I identify who is a Vaishnava? Vaishnava Chinibo Kimone. How will I identify who is a Vaishnava? Mahaprabhu says, oh, this is not a big thing. Prabhu kahe yar mukhe ek Krishna naam say pujya yar mukhe shuni ek bar. Even if you hear once Krishna naam say pujya shreshta sabakar. You should consider him the best of all the human beings. And then he glorifies the power of the holy names, how one does not require Purashcharya and Diksha to chant the names of Krishna. And then he meets the Khandavasis, Mukunda, Narahari, Raghunandan, and the famous story, who is father, who is son. Then Lord glorifies Mukunda. He was a physician, and how he was once in the court of king. He was a Muslim king, And one of the servants came to offer peacock feather fan, and Mukunda, he went into ecstasy, seeing that peacock feather, he remembered Krishna. So the Lord gave different instructions to Mukunda, Raghunandan, and Narhari Sarkar. He told Mukunda that you earn both spiritual and material wealth. He told Raghunandan that you always serve Krishna with all the in temple, with all faith. And he told Narhari, you remain here with my devotees. And then Lord glorifies Sarvabhaum, and he gives order to Sarvabhaum Bhattacharya and Vidyavachaspati. He tells Sarvabhaum Bhattacharya, you stay here and worship Daru Brahma, Purushottama, Lord Jagannath. And he told Vidyavachaspati, you go back to Bengal and worship Jala Brahma, that is Bhagirathi. Then he glorifies Murari Gupta and he tells devotees that I tested him so much, but he could not give up the service to Lord Ram. That is a loyalty and chastity of a devotee. And then he glorifies Vasudeva Datta. How Vasudeva Datta? He was glorifying as if he had thousands of mouths. And as he is glorifying the devotion of Vasudeva Datta, Vasudeva Datta, he says, oh my Lord, I have a prayer to make. I have a request. Please give the sense of all the living entities in all the universe and let me go to hell and take them to spiritual world. Abu says, you don't have to suffer. Krishna asamartha nahe dhare sarva bal. He is not asamartha. Why he will make you suffer? He can deliver everyone and you don't have to suffer. So that's how the wonderful discussions are happening. So far we have discussed, I think, verse number 177. We'll continue our discussion from verse number 180. Here we have discussed till verse number 179. So Srī Caitanya Mahaprabhu, he continues, he glorifies the power of the Supreme Lord, how the Lord maintains three types of potencies, and he maintains this entire universe just by glancing over it. And then after this, Lord bids farewell to all the devotees. The devotees are crying, and the Lord is also very anxious seeing the departure of the devotees. So now today we'll be discussing the most wonderful section of this chapter, which is the title of this chapter. Lord accepts prasad at the house of Sarvabhaum. So Sarvabhaum Bhattacharya, as we know, he was so very attached to the Lord. We have heard in the past that when Mahaprabhu, he transformed Sarvabhaum from a Mayavadi to a devotee, he became so very attached to Srī Caitanya Mahaprabhu. When Mahaprabhu was departing for South India, Sarvabhaum actually fainted. Such a great devotee. So Mahaprabhu, he remained in Nilachal with various sannyasis and devotees like Paramananda Puri, Paramananda Bharati, Swarup Damodar, Jagadananda, Damodar Pandit, Govinda Kashishwara. And every day he would go to the Lord's temple and take darshan. One day, Sarvabhaum Bhattacharya came and he made a request. He said, can you please come to my house and take prasad for this entire month? Because he thought now devotees are gone. Earlier there was so much of competition we had heard. Advaitacharya wanted to offer to call Mahaprabhu at his home, and everybody wanted to invite Mahaprabhu, but they could not get much chance. So now all the devotees of Bengal are gone. So Sarvabhaum thought this is the right time. He said, Mahaprabhu, can you please accept invitation for lunch for 1 month at my place? Directly 1 month. Mahaprabhu says, this is not possible. This is against the regulatory principles of sannyasi. At least come for 20 days. Oh, this is also not possible. And then Mahaprabhu says, I will. And then he says, at least 15. Is really bargaining with Mahaprabhu. एक महीना नहीं, 20 दिन, 15 दिन. Mahaprabhu says, I will come only one day. Not more than that. And when Sarvam Bhattacharya, he heard, he fell at the feet, he caught hold of the feet of Mahaprabhu and said, at least 10 days you come. And ultimately, Mahaprabhu bargained so much. I said, okay, 5 days I'll come. Only 5 days. That's it. So that's how Mahaprabhu is negotiating with his devotees' devotion. The devotee's devotion is so much. He wants to serve the Lord always. But Mahaprabhu he wants to show the world how eager a devotee is to serve. So he wanted to offer prasad every day for all the month. Mahaprabhu said only 5 days. Expert in negotiating. One time, Srila Prabhupada, he wanted one devotee to become temple president. And this devotee came to know that Prabhupada is thinking like this. And he didn't want to become temple president because becoming a temple president means so many services, responsibilities, and not much time for, japa, apart from 16 rounds, or very, very difficult and hectic life. So he wanted to avoid all those things. And he had made a list. When Prabhupada will say this, I will say that. Prabhupada called him and he knew why Prabhupada is calling. And he had his list ready. But Prabhupada, he was one step ahead. He said, I want you to take sannyas. So as soon as this devotee heard this, he practically fell down. He said, Prabhupada, I have just married. I have just, given one child is there, few months old. How can I take sannyas? Who will take care of my wife and children? I said, we'll send them to Gurukul. They'll be taken care of. Don't worry. And he said, Prabhupada, I am not able to focus on my devotional practices also properly. How can I become temple president? Prabhupada said, don't worry. I will tell you what to do, what not to do. I ultimately became so disturbed. He said, Prabhupada, I will do anything but take sannyas. Prabhupada said, okay, become temple president. So that's how Prabhupada would negotiate. Here, Mahaprabhu is negotiating with how many days? So then Sarvam Bhattacharya said, okay, he is still not satisfied. He said, you have 10 sannyasis with you. So Mahaprabhu was staying with 10 sannyasis in Jagannath Puri. And Prabhupada writes how a sannyasi should not cook for himself and he can accept invitation to eat at a devotee's house for for 1 day or 2 days, not for many days. But Mahaprabhu, he was so affectionate to his devotees, he could not resist. Yet he had to satisfy the devotees because Lord is moved by the will of the devotees. Again and again, Mahaprabhu is showing by his activities how he is moved by the will of the devotees. He is ready to change his course of, travel to go and meet Rup Sanatan Goswami. He was going to Vrindavan. He came to Ramakeli. Why? To meet Rup Sanatan Goswami. And devotees, they didn't want to leave Srī Caitanya Mahaprabhu. And they were requesting again and again that please stay for Janmashtami, please stay for Radhashtami is coming, then Sharad Purnima is coming, then one after another. Then Sankranti is coming, then Ramnavami is coming. They didn't allow Mahaprabhu to go to Vrindavan for 2 years. So the Lord, who is supreme, independent, he is controlled by the will of devotees. Evam sandarshita yanga harina vrityavashyata swavashena krishena yasyedam sa ishwaram vashe. The Lord is supreme, independent. but he is controlled by the will of devotees. So here, Lord is controlled by the affection of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. Mahaprabhu stayed in Jagannath Puri with 10 sannyasis. Prabhupada names them. Paramananda Puri, Swarup Damodar, Brahmananda Puri, Brahmananda Bharati, Vishnu Puri, Keshav Puri, Krishnananda Puri, Narasimha Tirtha, Sukhananda and Satyananda Bharati. So Sarvam came to know that Mahaprabhu is coming only for 5 days. Okay. I have already talked to Paramananda Puri Goswami and he has already accepted my proposal for coming 5 days. And Sarup Damodar is my intimate friend. He can also come with you and sometimes he can come alone also. And all the other 8 sannyasis, they can come for 2 days. So practically, he invited all of them and he was serving entire month. 5 days Mahaprabhu, 5 days Paramananda Puri, 4 days Swarup Damodar Goswami, and then remaining 8, 2 days. So the entire month is gone. That is the zeal of a devotee to serve. Yena kena prakarena. Somehow or other I want to serve. And then he says, actually it is okay because if all the sannyasis come together, it will be difficult for me to, serve properly. I may give my attention to one, another person may not get proper service, and I may become offended. So you all come alone. And sometimes you can come together, 1 or 2 people. So when Srī Caitanya Mahaprabhu heard this, he accepted. And as soon as Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya accepted, as soon as Mahaprabhu accepted the proposal of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, immediately Sarvabhauma that day only invited, you come today only for lunch. So Mahaprabhu came. He said, okay, I'll come. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was really happy. He went to his home and informed his wife, Shakhira Mata. Her name is not described. Shakhi is the daughter of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, so it's mother of Shakhi. Shakhira Mata Nam Bhattacharya Grihini Prabhura Maha Bhaktate Ho Sahite Snehite Janani. So the qualities of Shakhira Mata, the wife of Sarvabhauma, are described. She is Prabhura Mahabhakta. She is a great devotee of Srī Caitanya Mahaprabhu and she has an affection of a great mother. Prabhura Mahabhakta Teho Snehete Janani. Just like mother, she would serve. And as soon as she came to know that Mahaprabhu is coming, she began cooking. And Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, he would always keep a stock full of food at his home, all the grains. He was not an ordinary person. He was a spiritual master of the king. He brought all the spices, vegetables, and all the fruits and spinach so that the prasad can be made. And Shakhira Mata, she started cooking. And Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, he started assisting her. And she was a very expert cook. She knew how to cook nicely. So she had affection for Srī Caitanya Mahaprabhu. She had devotion for Srī Caitanya Mahaprabhu. She had affection of her mother, and she was a great cook also. These are the 3 qualities which are mentioned about her: devotion, affection, and expertise. All 3 are needed to serve. One may have devotion, but our affection may not be so much. One may have devotion and affection, but may not be expert in serving. So these 3 qualities are very important: devotion, affection, and expertise. In the course of our practice of devotional service, we should develop affection for the Lord. We should develop emotions for the Lord. We are supposed to develop emotions for our spiritual master, for Srila Prabhupada. Otherwise, it just remain a theory. Our relationship with Krishna, our relationship with spiritual master should not be at an intellectual level. It should come at a devotional and emotional level. Because when we are emotionally connected to somebody, then it is so very easy to invest our consciousness in that person or that thing. So Shakhira Mata, she had great devotion. Prabhura Mahabhaktate ho snehete janani. And she had great affection also. And she was a very expert cook. So these are the wonderful qualities of the wife of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. So now, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, he had recently renovated his kitchen, his house, and he had made one lunch room which was already there, and he had made another lunch room, especially for Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu. And this lunch room, this room which he had made for Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu, it was made custom, it was a custom made room according to the needs of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This room had only one door from where Mahaprabhu can enter, and other door was connected to the kitchen so that prasad can be brought in. And then Kaviraj Goswami starts describing what all things Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya and his wife made for Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Prabhupada writes, this description of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is very clearly telling that Kaviraj Goswami, this description given by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, clearly tells that Kaviraj Goswami is an expert cook and he is expert at serving prasad also. Otherwise, nobody can give so many details. Nobody can remember so many preparations. Unless one is himself a great cook, nobody can remember the details of what all things are put in that. So he starts. First, 3 manna of rice, that is 6 pounds of rice, was put on a big banana leaf. And on top of that, a very, very pure yellow ghee was poured. पीत सुगंधि घृते अन्न सिक्त कोयला चारिदी के पाते घृत वही चलिला. He completely mixed that rice with so much of ghee that the ghee was overflowing from that ghee. And then he arranged various pots made up of banana tree bark and the leaves of a kea plant. And he had placed all that around that big banana leaf. And then what all things are prepared? Practically, all the eatables of Bengal and Odisha were prepared in 6 hours. It was unimaginable. Even Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gets surprised. 10 types of spinach was made. A soup called a shukta, which is made with neem leaves, and a pungent preparation with black pepper. A cake is made of fried curd, then buttermilk, and then there are various preparations. Kaviraj Goswami takes the name Dugdha Tumbi, Dugdha Kushmanda, Lafda Venjan, Mocha Ghanta, Mocha Bhaja. So all these are the Bengali preparations which Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya is making along with his wife. Vriddha Pushmanda Badi, Phul Badi, various types of fruits and roots are kept. Then eggplant mixed with neem leaves. So many types of badi, light badi, dal badi, and fried leaves, fried patol, squash of pumpkin, everything is made. There is no end to the list of the food varieties which is made by the mother of Shakhi. Various types of dal, moong dal, urad dal, and banana preparations. Then sweet rice cakes, coconut cakes, and kanji vada, dugdha chida, dugdha laklaki, various types of cakes, sweets, Sweet rice mixed with ghee and mixed with chapakala. Chapakala is condensed milk and mango. So many different preparations. So practically all the preparations which are there in Jagannath Puri and Bengal, they were made. He also prepared Amrit Gutika. And then he had brought some Mahaprasad of Lord Jagannath also. It was kept in a separate plate. So, Father, generally, when we get some Mahaprasad, we mix it with other bhoga, which we make, and then we serve. But this time, Sarvam Bhattacharya, he had kept Mahaprasad separately to satisfy Srī Caitanya Mahaprabhu. And then, when Lord Srī Caitanya Mahaprabhu came at this place, at the house, and this particular room of Sarvam Bhattacharya, he was surprised. Specifically, Lord Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu, he knew that Sarvam Bhattacharya wants to serve him exclusively first. So he came alone. Although he had told that Swarup Damodar Goswami can also come sometimes with Mahaprabhu, but this time Mahaprabhu came alone. Lord knows how to reciprocate with each and every devotee according to their rasa. यद यद धियात उरुगाय विभावयन्ति तत्तद वपु प्रणयसे सदनुग्रहाय. In whatever rasa, in whatever relation a devotee wants to reciprocate with the Lord, Lord appears accordingly. So Lord is called as Akhila Rasamrit Murti. Only Lord can reciprocate with his devotees' devotion in that particular rasa. None of the relations of this world will satisfy the heart. Only Krishna can satisfy each and every living entity according to the rasa they have with the Lord. So Mahaprabhu came alone because he knew that Sarvam Bhattacharya, he wants to serve him exclusively. Sarvam Bhattacharya, he washed the feet of Lord and gave him a nice place. As he entered the room, as Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu entered the room, he was a little astonished to see the gorgeous arrangement of bhoga. And he spoke, this is really uncommon. How is that you have made so many preparations in 6 hours? It is unimaginable. Shata chulai shata jana pakayadi kore tabu shigra et dravya randite na pare. Even if 100 men are cooking on 100 stoves, still they can't cook what you have made in 6 hours. How is it possible? And I can see that you have already offered it to Krishna because I can see Tulasi on it. He had placed Tulasi also on top of rice preparations. And then he glorifies. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu glorifies the devotion of Sarvabhaum. भाग्यवान तुम्ही सफल तुम्हारा उद्योग राधा कृष्ण लगाई अचय तादृश भोग. You are most fortunate. All your endeavors are successful. Bhagyavan tumi safal tumara udyog. All our endeavors are successful only if we offer them to Krishna. Bhagyavan tumi tumara safal udyog. Your endeavors are successful because Radha Krishna lagai acha. You have offered all these to Krishna. That is the purpose of life. Otherwise, everything is Shamayevi Kevalam. Shushtasya Suktasya Chabuddhi Dattayo Avijjito Artha Kavibur Nirupito Yaduttama Shloka Gunanu Varnanam. Anyone, anything they may be having, if they are not offering to Krishna, it is waste. The ultimate purpose of all our endeavors is to please Krishna. And if Krishna is not pleased, then it is only endeavor. That is the only benefit one gets. That's it. Shramayeva hi kevalam. धर्मस्वनुष्ठितः पुंसां विश्वक्सेनकथासु न उत्पादयेद् रतिं यदि श्रम एव हि केवलम्. With all our endeavors, with all our religious practices, we are supposed to serve Krishna, please Krishna. If Krishna is pleased, then it is success. Otherwise, it is waste. So Mahaprabhu is glorifying that you are so fortunate that you have offered everything to Radha and Krishna. And Mahaprabhu says, I can see the color of the rice. It is so attractive. It was shining with glistening ghee all over. He said, I can definitely tell that Radha Krishna has accepted it. Tomara bahut bhagya kata prasansiva ami bhagyavane ihar avashesha pabo. I cannot I cannot tell you how fortunate you are. How shall I praise you? How much shall I praise you? Kata prasansiva. Because you have offered so much to Krishna. Whatever you have made, you have offered it to Krishna. And I am fortunate. Ami bhagyavan ihara avashesha papa. I am fortunate that I will get the remnant of this prasad now. So Mahaprabhu saw that the asana was still there, on which the bhoga was offered. And when we offer bhoga to the Lord, we keep a small asana and we invite Krishna, you please come here, and then the bhoga is offered. So Krishna's sitting place was still there. That bhoga, the asana was still there. So Mahaprabhu says, can you please take away Krishna's sitting place and put it aside? And can you give me this prasad in another plate? Sarvam Bhattacharya says, oh my Lord, you have glorified me, but it is not so wonderful. Everything has been made possible by the energy and mercy of whom for uh, for him who will eat the food. All this is possible by the mercy and energy of him who will eat. That means he's saying it is by your mercy. Because ultimately, you are going to eat all this. And we all know whatever Sarvam Bhattacharya is saying is completely in line with the philosophy, because whatever we have, all our skills, all our capabilities, all our uh, endeavors we make, it is all given by Krishna. All our faith, all our desires to serve him is given by Krishna. It comes in Srimad Bhagavatam when Brahmaji, he is born on the lotus flower and he is wondering, who am I, what I'm supposed to do? He looks around, nothing is there, it is darkness everywhere. He enters the stem of the lotus to find out from where this lotus is coming from. He travels for a long distance, doesn't come to an end. He comes back and sits on the lotus flower, wondering what to do. He hears words, tapa, tapa, 2 times. He does tapasya, understands that maybe the Supreme Lord is telling me to do tapasya. He does tapasya only for 100 human years, very little time. God appears, and Brahmani starts offering beautiful prayers. The Lord tells, oh Brahmaji, remember you heard tapa, tapa, who spoke those words? I spoke. Who gave you faith to believe in those words? I gave. Who gave you strength to do tapasya? I gave. And now I have appeared and you are offering beautiful prayers. Who is giving you intelligence to offer those prayers? Lord says, I am giving. So what is your credit? So the devotee always knows that everything he does is by the mercy of God. Matchakarthang matstotram matkathabhyudayankitam yadva tapsite nishtha saesha mad anugraha. Mad anugraha, it is all only by the mercy of Supreme Lord it is happening. Sarvam Bhattacharya says, actually, myself and my wife, we are not so expert in cooking, but it is by the power of the Lord that everything is done so nicely. Now you please sit here and take lunch. Abdu says, well, this place is worshipable. How can I sit here? Krishna has taken his on this seat. I can't take this. I can't sit here and take prasad. So Srila Prabhupada writes, this is a very important etiquette. The things which are used by Krishna should not be used by anyone else. And Srila Prabhupada writes, similarly, the things used by spiritual master should not be used by anyone else. The Lord's sitting places, eating places, they are worshipable. Everything used by spiritual master is worshipable. We should never use it. So Bhattacharya says, look, both the Lord's prasad and the Lord's sitting place, they are mercy of the Lord. So you are eating prasad and you are saying, I cannot sit on the place where Lord is sitting, has sat. But this is not good. What is the offense in sitting in the place? So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, okay, you have spoken correctly. And the Shastras, they describe that devotee can partake of anything left by Krishna. So Sarvam Bhattacharya, he uses another philosophical uh, understanding. And Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu endorses it. He quotes a verse by Uddhavji. Tayopabhukta sraggandha vasalankar charchitai uchishta bhojino dasastava mayam jayemihi. Uddhavji is telling that I will conquer your material energy, Maya Shakti. How? By Tvaya Upabhukta, by enjoying your remnants, your cloth, your garland, your ornaments, your prasad, your remnants of food. Anything is left by Krishna, it was used by Uddhavji. Prabhupada writes. In Hare Krishna movement, the chanting of Hare Krishna mantra, the dancing in Kirtan, and eating the prasad, they are three most powerful things. Even if somebody is illiterate, can't understand the philosophy, if they do just these three things, they can get liberated very easily. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he agrees, he sat down. Then again, another thing he says, how can I eat so much? It is impossible to eat everything. Sarvam says, I know how much you can eat. He says, in Jagannath Puri, you eat 52 times a day. And that too big, big pots. Hundreds of buckets filled with prasadam. In Dwarka, you have 16,000 palaces and 16,000 queens are feeding you. Then in Vrindavan, so many of your relatives and friends were feeding you. You had 18 mothers, they would feed you. You have numerous friends and relatives. They would all offer morning and evening, they would offer, and you were eating. In Vrindavan, you had your father's elder brothers, father's younger brothers, your husband of your father's sisters, if your cowherd friends, everybody was feeding you and you were eating. And Prabhupada describes all the names, mothers, then in Vrindavan, Nanda Maharaj's younger brothers, elder brothers, then his father's sisters, everything. And then Sarvam Bhattacharya at Govardhan Puja during Ankuta ceremony, who you took everything and still you are saying Anyur. And now you are saying that this too much, this is not even a morsel for you. So Mahaprabhu, he smiled, he sat down, he started eating. And he first offered the prasad which he had brought from Jagannath Puri temple, Mahaprasad. So now, as Mahaprabhu is eating, this Sarvam Bhattacharya, he was getting prasad and he would putting in the plate of Srī Caitanya Mahaprabhu. At the same time, he was guarding the gate. Why he was guarding the gate? Sarvam Bhattacharya had a son-in-law. His name was Amogha. He was a very high-class Brahmana, but he was a great fault finder and an offender. So Amogha, he came to know that Srī Caitanya Mahaprabhu has come. He wanted to see Srī Caitanya Mahaprabhu eating. But Sarvam Bhattacharya was sitting at the gate with a big lathi, big stick. He was not allowing him to enter inside. As Mahaprabhu is eating, Sarvam went inside to get some more prasad, and Amogha got a chance. He entered and he started blaspheming Srī Caitanya Mahaprabhu. Just see, ei anna tripta hoye dasha bara jan, ekala sannyasi kore te eka bhakshan. Just see how much the sannyasi is eating. This much food can be eaten by 10, 12 people, and this sannyasi is eating alone everything. And as he speaks like this, Sarvam hears, he comes back running, and as Amogha sees Sarvam Bhattacharya, he runs from that place. Sarvam, he chases him with his stick, wanting to beat him. And because he was a young person and Sarvam is an old man, he can't, just catch him. He starts giving all the bad words, ill names, he curses. And as Sarvam Bhattacharya, very sad mood comes back. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is laughing as he heard Sarvam Bhattacharya giving ill names to Galilei. And when the mother of Shakhi, wife of Sarvam, she hears this, she starts beating her head and chest and she says, let Shakhi become a widow. That much affection they had for Srī Caitanya Mahaprabhu. They could not tolerate an offense against Srī Caitanya Mahaprabhu. They were ready to give up their relatives. दोहारा दुख देखी प्रभु दुहा प्रबोधिया दुहारे इच्छाते भोजन कोइला तुष्ट होइया. Mahaprabhu, he could understand that they are really sad. Mahaprabhu pacified them. He said, don't worry, forget all that. Just you give me more. And he ate everything just to satisfy them. After Mahaprabhu finished prasad, Sarvam, he poured water to wash his mouth, hands and legs, and then he gave some mukhwas and smeared the body of the Lord with chandan sandal paste, put garland around his neck, and then requested Srī Caitanya Mahaprabhu, I invited you to my home just to have you blasphemed. Ninda koraite tomani nu nij ghare, ei aparadha pur Prabhu shama karamure. I invited you to my home just to have you criticized. Please forgive me, O my Lord, for this offense. Ei aparadha Prabhu shama karamure. Please forgive me. Mahaprabhu says, oh, what Amogha said is correct. What is your offense in that? There is no problem. Don't feel like that. Mahaprabhu then left, returned to his residence. Sarvam Bhattacharya, he was following him. He was really feeling bad. Mahaprabhu somehow pacified him and sent him back to his home. After returning Sarvam, he consulted his wife and he was condemning himself. And he was telling, Chaitanya Goshaira Ninda Shunliya Yaha Hoite, Taravada Koilavaya Papa Prayashchitte. If a man who has blasphemed Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he is killed, that is a right prayashchit for that person. Then only his sinful action can be atoned. So Prabhupada in the purport describes elaborately Vaishnava Aparadh. What is the power of Vaishnava Aparadh? He quotes Hari Bhakti Vilas, and in that Sanatana Goswami has described, he has quoted from Skanda Purana concerning the blasphemy of a Vaishnava. Yohi Bhagavatam Lokam Upahasam Nripottama Karoti Tasya Nashyanti Arth Dharma Yasha Sutaha. So this is a conversation going on between Markandeya and Bhagirath. And he says, "O my dear king, one who derides and offends a Vaishnava, he loses results of all his pious activities. He loses his opulence, his reputation, his sons. And whoever blasphemes a Vaishnava goes to hell called as Maha Raurav." And in the 6 types of offense, we have heard, sometimes Hanti nindati vaidveshti Vaishnavanam abhinandati Vruddhadeyati no harsham darshane patanani cha patanani shat. There are 6 types of offenses against our devotee. Hanti, if somebody is killing a Vaishnava, that is the biggest offense. Hanti, nindanti, if somebody blasphemes a Vaishnava. Dveshti, if somebody is envious of other Vaishnava. Vaishnavana na abhinandati, if somebody is not happy with seeing a Vaishnava. If somebody becomes angry seeing a Vaishnava, kruddhate, you know what happens to him? He falls down to hell. He quotes so many verses from various scriptures. Ye nindati rishikesham tadbhaktam punyarupinam shatajanmarjitam punyam tesham nashyati nishchitam. He says, if somebody offends Krishna and devotees of Krishna, he destroys the 100 lifetimes of his pious activities. And they go to Maharaurav hell or Kumbhipak hell, and they'll be bitten by worms as long as the sun and the moon exist. Very strong punishment. If somebody, and he says, one should never ever even see the face of a person who blasphemes the Supreme Lord or the devotees of the Lord. We should never associate with those people. Nindam Bhagavata Shrindvan Tatparasya Janasava Tato Napaiti Yasopi Yatyadhya Sukritachyutaha. One should never ever associate with those who blaspheme Vaishnavas and the Supreme Lord. One should immediately leave that place. If somebody does not leave a place, then he go to hell. And then he quotes a verse spoken by Mother Sati in Dakshayakya. Karnaupi dhaya nirayadyadakalpa ishe dharma vitar asranir nibirasyamane chandat prasahya rushatim masati prabhushet jehva sunapi tato visrajet sadharmaha. There are 3 things one can do if one hears the insult and blasphemy of a Vaishnava. First thing is, just close your ears and leave the place immediately. That's the easiest. Second thing is, you debate with that person and refute and defeat that person. And third, if you have the power, cut off the tongue of that person, or if you can't do any of this, commit suicide. So Sarvam Bhattacharya is thinking, well, the right way to atone is to kill. But the problem is, first thing is to kill Amogha or give up my life. But he says neither of them are possible. Because we both are in Brahman bodies. It is an offense to kill a Brahman. So what to do? Unase nindakera mukhana dekhiva parityag kailuttaran namana laiva. So what I do? I reject any relationship I cut off any relationship with Amogha. I will not see his face again in my life. Puna seen in the Kira Mukha na dekhiba. That is the amount of affection, that is the amount of attachment Sarabham had for Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. I am ready to give up everything and anything if it is an obstacle in the path of my devotional service. I will not see the face of Amukha again. I give up all my relationship with him. Shathira kahattara chhaduka se hoila patita hoile bharta tyajite uchita. Go and tell Shati that she should give up all relation with Amokha. He has become fallen. And it is better to give up the relationship with husband if the husband falls down. Srila Prabhupada describes, it is mentioned in the scriptures that one should not kill a Brahmana. Although in some scriptures it is described, he quotes Krishna is himself telling Brahma Bandhuna Hantavya Adatai Vadharana. It is an injunction that one should never kill a Brahmana, but if a Brahmana is an aggressor, he should be killed. But how he should be killed? There is no injunction for killing the body. The right way is to kill the Brahmana is cutting his hair and insult him and driving him out of his home. But we should never kill the body of a Brahman. Prabhupada writes, if a person is not in Krishna consciousness and he cannot protect his wife from the repeated path of birth and death, such a person cannot be accepted as a husband. And a wife should dedicate her life for Krishna consciousness. And if the husband is not favorable or he's not practicing, he's against the practices, husband can be abandoned and wife will not be condemned. He tells, Patincha patitam tyajet. If the husband is a fallen person, he can be given up. Napati sasasya namochayirya sampet mrityum. If somebody cannot deliver the subordinates from the path of birth and death, he can be rejected. He should not become a husband if one cannot deliver the wife from the cycle of birth and death. Of course, when we hear such things, we should understand the circumstances and how we can understand and apply these principles. Because if these things are taken out of context, then it can create disturbance in the lives of people. As a mature, as a very, very intelligent and thoughtful Vaishnava, we should always give instructions according to time, place, and circumstance. Because if somebody says, oh, this was written in the scriptures, so I will give up because he is not practicing, he is against. We have to always understand the circumstances and scenarios of a particular statement. The context is very important. In the current day and age, where most of the people are not Krishna conscious, and if one family member becomes Krishna conscious and he says, oh, none of my family member is supporting, I'll give up. That's not the right way. We have to learn to practice Krishna consciousness in a way that everybody becomes close to Krishna, at least favorable to Krishna, or not favorable, neutral. Just by giving them prasad, they also will get benefited. And there are devotees, many examples of devotees are practicing Krishna consciousness in such a adverse conditions. And if we are strong enough and prayerful enough, definitely Krishna reciprocates. So Sarvam Bhattacharya, he's saying, I can't kill him, I can't kill myself. So what to do? That night, Amoga, he fled. And next morning, he was afflicted with cholera. And when Sarvam Bhattacharya, when he came to know, he heard that Amoga is dying of cholera, he said, the evidence has done what I wanted to do. Because when one offends the great personalities, definitely one is destroyed. The karma immediately takes effect. And he quotes two verses. Mahata hi prayatnena hasti ashwarata pattivihi asmavirya anushteyam gandharvaistat anushthetam. We hear the story of Mahabharata and Duryodhana. He was camping in the forest, just right in front of Pandavas, because he wanted to make fun of Pandavas. They are already in forest, and Duryodhana came to show his opulence. And there was another Gandharva, Chitrarath. He was there also that time. So Chitrarath, as he's with his women and apsaras enjoying in that river, Duryodhana says, what are you doing here? This place belongs to us. So he says, who are you to challenge us? And there was a fight. And ultimately, Duryodhana was arrested by Chitrarath. One of the soldiers from Duryodhana's party went running into Yudhishthira Maharaj and said, please help your brother. And Bhima, when he heard this, he said, wow, what we could not do, it is already done by the providence. We have had to arrange all those military and phalanxes and elephant and horse, and it is done by the providence only. He'll be punished now. So, in other words, he spoke from Srimad Bhagavatam 10th canto. When Kamsa, he is torturing Vasudeva and Devaki. This verse is spoken. Ayu shriyo yasho dharmam lokanashi evacha hanti shreyamsi sarvani pumso mahat atikramaha. When somebody offends great personalities, Ayu goes down, the wealth, the opulence goes down, the fame, the dharmic principles, and the auspicious benedictions go down. So Amoga, he falls down with cholera and he's really suffering. Mahaprabhu, the next day, Gopinath Acharya goes to meet him. Mahaprabhu asks him about Sarvam Bhattacharya, what is happening. And Gopinath Acharya says, oh my lord, Sarvam Bhattacharya and his wife, they are fasting. And the Samoga is dying of cholera. Acharya kahe upavas kaila duijan Vishuchika vyadi te amog chhadi che jivan. Vishuchika vyadi, he is dying, chhadi che jivan, he is dying of cholera. As soon as Mahaprabhu hears this, Shuni kripamay Prabhu vaila dhaya amoge re kohe tare bhuke hastadiya. That's the extent of compassion. Mahaprabhu has, he is the most compassionate personality. And this is one glimpse of compassion. If somebody offends us, will we ever desire a good fortune for him? Welfare of that person? You will think he should also suffer. For an ordinary person, condition, for a sadhaka, the thought may come. Shuni Kripamay, the most merciful Lord, as soon as he heard that, oh, he's dying of cholera, he ran, immediately he ran, and he reached the place where Amoga was lying down. He touched his hand to the chest of Amoga. He says, Sahaje Nirmale Brahmana Hriday, Krishna Ravasite Yogyasthana. The heart of a Brahmana is naturally pure. It is a right place for Krishna to sit. Why you have allowed this sin of envy, this contamination of envy to enter this heart? Matsarya Chandala Kene Iha Vasaile Parama Pavitra Sthana Pavitra Koile. You have allowed this envy to enter your heart. Matsarya Chandal. Chandal means most degraded person, contaminated person. Why you have allowed him to enter your heart? सार्वभौम संगे तुम्हारा कलुष हईलाक्षय कलमश घुचिले जीव Krishna namalay. Now, another wonderful quality of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is he never takes any credit. We know when Mahaprabhu he delivered Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, and Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya he tells Mahaprabhu that you are going to South India, please meet Ramananda Rai. રામાનંદ રાય আছে ગોદાવરી તીરે અધિકારી હોય તેમાં વિદ્યાનગરે શુદ્ર વિષય જ્ઞાને ઉપેક્ષા ના કરીબો અમારા વચને તારે અવશ્ય મિલીબો. Don't think he's a Shudra Vishay. Please meet him because I am saying he's the only one qualified to associate with. And Mahaprabhu comes and Ramanand Rai offers full obeisances, glorifies Mahaprabhu, and Mahaprabhu says, you are glorifying me as a sannyasi. And I came to meet you because Sarvabhaum glorified you. सार्वभौम संगे मोर मन निर्मल होइला भक्ति तत्व नहीं जानीता हाथे पूछिला. He says, by association with Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, my heart was purified. We know who purified whom. And Mahaprabhu says, I don't know what is Bhakti Tattva. I asked him, तेहु कहे अमी नहीं जानी कृष्ण कथा सबे रामानंद जानी तेहु नहीं था. And he says that I don't know Krishna Katha. Ramananda Rai knows everything. तुम्हारा ठानी आइला तुम्हारा महिमा सुनिया तुम्ही मोरे स्तुति करो सन्यासी जानिया. And you are glorifying me as a sannyasi. What is this? So Mahaprabhu always gives credit to his devotees. He always glorifies his devotees. And here also he is glorifying Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. Sarvabhauma Sangye Tomar Kalush Hoilakshay. Because you are associated with Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, your contamination is now vanquished. And when the contamination is vanquished, the result is Jiva Krishna Namalay. One chants the name of Krishna. So now he says, Oh Amoga, please get up. उठा मोग तुम्हें लो कृष्ण नाम अचिरे तुम्हारे कृपा करिबे भगवान. Get up, O Amoga, get up. Chant the names of Krishna. Very soon Krishna will show mercy to you. And as soon as Mahaprabhu tells this, he touches Amoga. Amoga immediately gets up. He's completely purified. He starts chanting Krishna's names and he goes into ecstasy. He starts manifesting all the symptoms of ecstasy. And when Mahaprabhu sees this, he starts laughing. Prabhura charane dhari koriya vinay aparadha sham mure Prabhu dayamay. Now he's come back to his senses. He catches hold of the feet of Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu, says, please forgive me, O supremely merciful Lord. Aparadha sham mure. Please forgive me. And not only that, he started slapping his own cheeks. Repeatedly he was slapping, so much so that his cheeks were swollen. Gopinath Acharya caught hold of the hands of Amoga. Prabhu Ashvashana Kari Sparshita Ragatra Sarvabhaum Sambandhe Tumi Mora Sneha Patra. And again, now Mahaprabhu is telling the secret. Why he is showing mercy to Amoga. He touches the body of Amoga, purifies him, and he says, Sarvabhaum Sambandhe, because you are related to Sarvabhaum, that's why you are the object of my affection. That's how Lord respects his devotees, and anybody who is associated with devotee, he gets benefited. And Mahaprabhu speaks a very beautiful verse. सार्वभौम गृहे दास दासिये कुकुर सेह मोर प्रियन्य जन रहुदूर. In the house of Sarvabhaum, even a maid servant and a dog is dear to me. What to speak of anyone else? So therefore, now, O Amogha, अपराध नाही सदलव Krishna नाम, एत बोली प्रभु आइला सार्वभौम स्थान. He gave two instructions to Amogha. Chant the names of Krishna and don't offend anymore. The same instruction he gave to Jagai Madhya also. Then he came back to the house of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. And Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, as soon as he saw Mahaprabhu, he caught hold of the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Mahaprabhu embraced him and sat down and he said, Sarvabhauma, after all, Amog is your child. Why are you angry? Why are you fasting? Just get up, take bath, and go and take darshan of Lord Jagannath and come back and take prasad. Unless you take prasad, I'm not going from here. I'll stay here. And Bhattacharya, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya says, Oh Lord, why did you bring Amogha back to life? It would have been better that he died. Mar jata to acha hota. Mahaprabhu says, Are Amogha is like a child. He's like your son. If a child kicks father does not take it seriously. And now he has become Vaishnava. He is offenseless. Please bestow your mercy on him. Mahaprabhu is, telling Sarvabhauma, please bestow mercy. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya says, Oh my Lord, please go and see Lord Jagannath. And then after that, I'll take bath and I'll also come. So then Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, he tells Gopinath, stay here and inform me when Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya has taken prasad. So Mahaprabhu is so very personal. He's telling, I'm going because Sarvabhauma tells him that you go and take bath, take darshan of Lord, I will go. Mahaprabhu is saying, no, I'm going, but Gopinath, you tell me whether he ate or not. That's how personal Lord is in his dealing with his devotees. So after saying Lord went and Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, he took bath and then he took darshan, he took prasad. And Amogha, he became such a wonderful devotee of Lord Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu. So this is the wonderful way Lord Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu he enjoyed so many wonderful pastimes. Aiche bhatta grihe kore bhojana vilas tar madhye nana chitra charitra prakash. Just taking bhojan at the house of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, Mahaprabhu has manifested so many pastimes. That is the wonderful nature of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Sarvabhauma ghare hi bhojana charit, Sarvabhauma prema yaha hoila vidit. These are the peculiar characteristics of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes. He ate at the house of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, and in this way he showed the entire world the love of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, which he had for Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Shathira matara premara prabhura prasad bhakta sambandhe yaha shamila aparad. Now, Kaviraj Goswami says, thus I have related the wonderful ecstatic love of Sarvabhaum's wife, and I have also related the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And why he did so? Why he showed mercy to Amogha? Because Amogha was related to a great devotee. In the case of Nagapatnis, Krishna, he chastised Kaliya, but he didn't kill Kaliya because Kaliya was related to Nagapatnis. Krishna, he is called as Swanam Paksha Poshanam. He is equal to everyone. Samoham sarva bhuteshu namid dveshwastina priyaha ye bhajanti tumam bhaktya maite teshu chapya. Anyone who worships me, I take care of them specially. That's how the Lord does. That's how he reciprocates with his devotees. Amogha was dying of cholera, but Mahaprabhu delivered him because he was related to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. And Kaviraj Goswami gives benedictions. Shraddha kari lila shune jai jan achirat paise Chaitanya charan. Anyone who hears these pastimes of Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu with faith and love. Shraddha kare, ei lila shune jan. What will happen? Achirate paise Chaitanya charan. They will definitely, very quickly get the mercy of Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu. And in this way, Kaviraj Goswami ends this chapter by glorifying Rupa Raghunath. Shri Rupa Raghunath Padayaraga Caitanya Caritāmrta Kahe Krishnadas. We'll stop here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai. Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.